So the name of the book is Health Backwards, an original look from a different perspective. What an interesting conversation we're about to have with the author of this book, Cyndi, Whatif. And it is really a game changer as we look at what's happening so often for so many people. So we welcome her to Author's Corner here on America Tonight with me, Kate Delaney. Cyndi, thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about your book and why you wrote this. What happened to you that made you decide, I'm going to write about this?
Well, it's actually for two reasons. The first one is I wanted to give hope, because when my health was at its worst, it's like the worst feeling is not having any hope. And if you don't have hope, it's almost impossible for any other parts of your life to work out for you. And so I want to give other people hope, because I know that I'm not the only one that goes to doctor's appointments and doctors can't find what is wrong, or they have you do methods and the methods don't work. And the second reason is, it sounds kind of funny, but it's like, I want to clear my name because of doctor's appointments where they're like, they can't find what's wrong. So then they assume it's something that you've done or that you're thinking or that you're imagining. And it's really not. And so my tagline, for lack of a better word, is winning against invisible illnesses. And I think that's the important thing we need to remember is invisible illnesses are invisible. And what my book talks about is that maybe the solution cannot be seen under a microscope, because you can't see it, but it's there. There is a physical solution to it.
Wow. So some of the things that you had, like you had chronic fatigue syndrome for a very long time. And so explain what that does to your body. Like you said, it had to be frustrating because that's tough.
Yes, it's very tough. And statistics even say that it usually takes 5 to 10 years to find the source of that chronic fatigue. And I think it took probably 14 years for them to find out that it was my pituitary gland wasn't making human growth hormones. So I had to start taking 4 shots a week, 4 injections a week to try to fix that. And that didn't work either. So.
Wow. So then what did you do and what do you talk about in the book?
What I at that point in my life, I had already been living the healthy lifestyle and I'd already been doing that diet, exercise. I mean, in the second chapter of my book, I actually list the 25 different things I had already tried that just was not working. And so it's like I was at the end of my rope. It's like, okay, everything they're saying to do is not working. And so I guess it's just pure desperation. It's like, I need to figure something out. I want to be here for my kids and my whole family, my sisters and my mom and my dad, they all had health issues too. And it's like, I wanted to break the cycle. And so I went to see a homeopath for probably 3 years and she couldn't help me either, but she did point me in the right direction. And I guess I just kept researching until the pieces started falling together. It took me 5 years of really taking notes daily on what was going on, what did work, what didn't work, until I finally did figure out what was happening with my body. And I've coined it DISH, which means Defensive Individual Shield Hypothesis. And then I spent the next 5 years seeing if I could fix the dish when it's not working. And I found ways to alter my environment, for lack of a better definition, to make it to where when the body is failing to do its job, I can make it do it for it. It's like using a water pump. You can pump it manually or you can let the water flow. And so if it's not flowing, I just do it manually until it starts working.
And so tell the listeners what they can do, what you found, what you wanted to share with everyone, which is why you wrote the book. You said you didn't want this for your family, your kids, and then you come to this point where you figure this out, you unravel it, and the name of the book, Health Backwards, an original look from a different perspective. So in the book, what do you tell us to look at?
The key takeaway for the health backwards is I think we're looking at chronic inflammation wrong. And chronic inflammation is always associated, I shouldn't say always, mostly associated with autoimmune diseases. And so we see the chronic inflammation and we try to make the chronic inflammation stop. And to me, I think the chronic inflammation is like a warning light, and it's our body doing what is coined intelligent disobedience. It's going against its prime directive in an effort to make a better decision. And I think the reason the chronic inflammation is there is because our bodies are failing, or the people that are struggling with chronic inflammation, for me anyway, is my body was failing to sort the good guys from the bad guys. And so I use really simple vocabulary in my book. I just like to keep it simple because it's easier to say good guys than say vitamins, nutrition, hormones, and all that stuff. And so I just keep it simple, and it's good guys and bad guys. But for people whose dish is not working, for example, plastic is a collagen, and our body is 25% collagen. And so if my body cannot tell the difference between plastic and collagen, people say toxic, or your body can't function properly if it doesn't have the collagen it needs. I don't know if that's too technical of a question.
No, that makes sense, because you talk about DISH, defensive individual shield hypothesis, and you take us through that, how you figured it out. What does it mean to us? How does it affect us? Like your explanation there, and what you did when it wasn't working, and how you figured out. And you use language, I think, that everybody can understand. And once you came across this, what happened in your life? How much did your life change?
It has changed. I mean, the chronic fatigue is a non-issue. The pituitary gland problem is a non-issue. My rheumatoid arthritis, gone. I was supposed to get tested for multiple sclerosis, and I declined the test because my mom took that test when she was the same age I was at that time, when she was in her 40s, and she ended up having 20, 30 strokes in a week, and she never recovered from it. And so that's why I didn't take the test. But I don't have any symptoms of what would be considered MS anymore. And but I mean, the downside is that I still have to manually do this dish for myself every day. But if I do it, I can go about my day. And if I don't do it, I can't.
Wow. I mean, that's powerful to say that. In the book, and what people are listening to now, what other things will they discover that was the aha moment for you? And I think you've pretty much shared that with us.
Yeah, and because it took quite a while, and I'm actually been homeschooling since 2000. So I was constantly helping my kids with their science and math and reading books with them. And so, I mean, every time I came across something that seemed interesting that might be connected, I'd write it down. And it was a long process of figuring it out, but I really do believe that this system working determines almost whether or not a person has the opportunity to be well.
Yeah, wow. And so the takeaway is, for the people who are reading it, that's what you hope, right?
Yeah, my hope is that it would cause, I mean, if it's what I think it is, because it is a hypothesis, that means an educated guess, and that needs to be questioned. And I'm throwing it out there to be questioned, because because if chronic inflammation and nutritional deficiencies could be removed from the problem, I mean, how many less problems? I mean, that would totally reduce so many illnesses, I think, with those being out of the equation.
Well, I totally agree with you. Can you just imagine a world where we could figure that out, and the health puzzle would be so different? And this certainly is a new angle. There's no question about it. Do you feel good about writing the book?
It was something I had to do. I don't think I could have lived with myself if I did not share it, because I think it's that important. And so
Yeah, I agree. So it's and answers. People are always looking for answers, and I can't imagine the chronic fatigue syndrome, the directions that you were going in, and you knew you wanted to do something different. The book is called Health Backwards, an original look from a different perspective. Cyndi Whatif is the author. You can get the book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, wherever great books are sold. Cyndi, thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Cyndi has another book with the same concept, easy to understand, shorter, about dish, Whiskers of Hope. Also, you can go to her website, desperatetoBewell.com. I'm Kate Delaney. Thanks for listening to this interview and this show, everybody.
Visit www.greatwritersmedia.com. Email us at info@greatwritersmedia.com. Call us at 877-600-5469. Subscribe now.